The entire Rays baseball team in front of the dugout just moments ago for a moment of silence. Rays senior advisor Don Zimmer yesterday, June 4th, 2014, passed away at the age of 83, survived by his wife Soot, sons Thomas, daughter Donna, 4 grandchildren. Our thoughts, prayers go out to Don Zimmer. We were blessed to have him with us for 83 years on this planet, 66 of those years in a baseball uniform. More recently, not able to get to the ballpark as much as he would like, and that just wasn't Don's life. He needed to be at the ballpark. That was his survival. That was his nourishment, and for him not to be able to be here, it was a tough final few months for him. But our thoughts go out to him. And Evan Longoria was about as close to Don Zimmer as any player on this Rays team. They had a special bond. They both played third base. Don taught Longo what it was about to be a major leaguer. And afterwards, we share with you Evan Longoria's thoughts on the passing of Don Zimmer.
It's all of our loss, you know. It was Zim was a great man, and there's really no words to explain, what he brought to us and what he meant to me, and it's just it's been a rough go for us, and this kind of puts the icing on the cake, so to speak. So I know that he would want us to continue on, and just kind of honor him by, doing all of the things that he preached to us, playing the game the right way, playing the game hard, and going out there on a daily basis and really caring about this organization and what he meant to us. And so I could sit here and talk about him all day, and it's a rough night for us.
Evan, you received a lot of accolades in your baseball career, but considering Don Zimmer a friend, that has to be, and how he took you under his wing has to be something.
Yeah, he's taken a lot of players under his wing in his time, and I think bigger than me or bigger than anybody is what he meant to this game. What kind of a person he was, and how he'll be remembered ultimately is for that, and just what he brought to this organization, to the Yankees, to the Red Sox, to the Cubs, to every, the Dodgers, every organization that he represented. It was all good, and his family has a lot to be proud of, and we have a lot to be thankful for.
We always saw you sitting next to him whenever he was in the dugout or if he was sitting in the home plate club. Can you share some of the things that, maybe not specific conversations, but things you'd like to talk about?
He always was ragging on me. That was the one thing that I could always look forward to from him was him giving me grief over something, or just reminding me about the important things in the game, and not the wins and losses, not the numbers, but ultimately, like I said, how he'll be remembered, and that's for just being a great baseball guy. And he brought so much to my game, and he taught me a lot of things, and so just those days, sitting in the dugout will be missed.
Longoria would later tweet, "Never have I looked up to anyone more. I never took for granted a day with you, Zim, and I thank you for every word you spoke. They all meant something. I'm lucky to have called you a friend. Aren't we all?" Rays baseball is next.
baseball on Sun Sports, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT, mobilizing your world. And by Checkers. Checkers brings big flavor for a small price. Feed your craving for quality for only $1. Cha-ching. Rays and the Marlins wrap up the Citrus Series when we return. Welcome back to Tropicana Field, where the Rays and the Marlins will square off in the second game, wrapping up the home portion of the Citrus Series. With Brian Anderson, I'm Dwayne Statz, and of course we were all touched by Don Zimmer during his lifetime. We are all saddened by his passing. We have a baseball game to play. We will cover that game, as Don Zimmer himself would say, boys, let's go win a game here. Baseball is the reason we're here.
That's exactly right, Dwayne. You know, he would have been thankful for the words of Evan Longoria. He would have been very appreciative of the words and the thoughts and sentiments last night. And you're right. Today, he would have said, let's go win a ball game.
So we're going to cover this game in that spirit, as the Rays try to snap a 9-game losing streak. Most everyone absorbed the loss last night, the loss of Don Zimmer, and trying to get back on the winning side here as Jake Odorizzi goes to the hill. First pitch of this game presented by Pinch a Penny, and that's a called strike. Christian Yelich, the left fielder in there, facing Jake Odorizzi. Two quick strikes.
And that's what you want to see out of Jake this afternoon. Fill up that strike zone. His stuff is plenty good enough. Fastball, low 90s, good changeup, curveball, slider.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
The problem with Jake has been the number of pitches. Just flat out not able to get deep into a game, even with a high pitch count. He's averaging just under 20 pitches an inning.
He got ahead of Yelich, 2 strikes, and now the count 2-2. That fastball away. You can see the velocity on that fastball. We've actually seen increased velocity from Odorizzi, and he comes back right there, striking out Yelich.
And he went up in the zone 92 miles an hour to get Yelich with that fastball.
Take a look at the rest of the lineup. Donovan Solano in the second spot, then Stanton, McGee at third. This afternoon, Gary Jones at first, Ozuna in center, Justin Bohr, the DH. JT Realmuto will do the catching, and Danny Echeverria is the shortstop hitting ninth. The lineup brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. Pitch is a strike to Solano. Solano hit the big home run in the third inning of last night's game. That made all the difference. A 4-run third.
First extra base hit of the season, if you can believe that.
Well, that's the way things have gone for the Rays throughout this downturn they've been in. There it is.
Well, David Price snapped that curveball off, and it ended up right into the swing path of Donovan Solano. And you remember that came right after the error down at third base by Evan Longoria on a tag that would have ended the inning, but the ball was jarred out of his glove, and that allowed Solano to do that.
And there's strike three call. There are a couple of strikeouts to start this game. The first one swinging, and this one a called third on another fastball.
Well located fastball by Jake Odorizzi. And how about you go back to May 9th, and that was that start against the Cleveland Indians here at Tropicana Field, where he started to really allow that slow curveball to play a big role in what he was going to try and do that day. Well, it has made all of his other stuff better, including pitches like that. The fastball at the top of the strike zone. He doesn't have a lot of movement on it, but he can elevate that pitch because it has a little bit of jump at the end.
Using Stanton, and the pitch is down and away. 2 outs with the bases empty. 16 home runs and 51 runs batted in for Stanton.
Both of those numbers lead the National League.
Into left field. That's going to fall in front of Joyce. Had a little hang time on it. And Stanton has himself a base hit.
And the reason that that ball falls in is because the way that the Rays have defensed Giancarlo Stanton. They have played their outfielders way back by the track. You can see how deep they are. So this ball, not hit that well, actually cracks the bat, is able to actually fall in. Anybody else on that Marlins team, or frankly any team, hits that same ball, inning's over.
That's what happens when you hit so many home runs, 450 feet. But I tell you, most of his home runs, you could be up against the wall, you're not going to catch.
That's absolutely correct. You know, there's a lot of teams that will not defend that. You play no doubles late in a ball game, but the idea is if I play that deep, I allow everything in front of me to fall, where if they hit it this deep, it's probably going to go over my head anyway.
And frankly, most pitchers, that just drives pitchers crazy.
There's no doubt. There's nothing worse than making a pitch, missing the barrel, bad contact, and it falls in.
So the strike to McGee.
I remember, in playing with Curt Schilling, that was his whole thought. He said, I want you to play shallow. I want you to take away the dinks and the dunks and count on me to make my pitches. Because if you get burnt over your head, that's not your fault. That's my fault.
Accountability.
He was pretty good.
The 0-2 to McGee, and a fly ball down the right side, headed into foul territory and slicing out of play. McGee has been as good as you're going to see with men in scoring position, and we saw that in his first at bat last night when Stanton doubled with 2 outs. Stanton with a base hit with 2 men gone in the first today. Way upstairs, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Casey McGee's got interesting numbers across the board. I mean, he's hitting .287. He's got just 1 home run. 1 home run, but 37 runs batted in. .429 with runners in scoring position. And by the way, he does most of his damage off of right-handed pitching, not lefties.
The Marlins have 2 or 3 guys like that in their lineup. It's fouled back, so it's still a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Yeah, what a difference McGee has made in this lineup. Did you see the lefty-righty breakout for him right there? with Stanton in here and McGee behind him, and then Garrett Jones in the lineup with a right-hander on the mound today. A little company in the middle part of this lineup for Stanton.
Well, last year he was a one-trick pony. I mean, this offense last year was last in the major leagues in average on-base percentage, runs, home runs, doubles, and in 76 games, they scored 2 runs or fewer.
Well, they hit .231 as a team. You have to go back to 1974 to find a team lower than that. That was the San Diego Padres in 1974, and they hit .229.
You just can't put anything together. You just cannot put any kind of inning together with a team batting average that low. And right there, manager Mike Redmond, he survived it.
Yeah, second year, first year, 62 and 100. And actually, with that kind of offense, you think, I'm pretty fortunate to win 62 games. Different story this year for him. A half game behind Atlanta right now in the National League East. Mike Redmond, the former catcher. Two the count on McGee. It's fouled out of play again.
You know, and this has been the issue. A lot of foul balls off Jake Odorizzi. You see he's already at 20 pitches. That's about his average, 19.9. You very rarely this deep into a season see a guy averaging, for all intents and purposes, 20 pitches an inning. But here we are, inning number 1, 2 quick strikeouts, right at 20.
Yeah, you're just trying to last 5 innings before you break the 100 mark. Popper into shallow center. Jennings coming straight in off the curveball. And McGee is out, number 3. A man left. Rays coming in to hit. No score. Scoreless. Let's take a quick look at the Rays lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. David DeJesus again leading off the DH. Then Ben Zobrist and Evan Longoria. And in the cleanup spot, James Loney again today. Desmond Jennings followed by Matt Joyce. Yunel Escobar, Kevin Kiermaier, and right. Elise Solis does the catching, and he hits ninth.
Well, taking the mound this afternoon for the Miami Marlins is going to be right-hander Jacob Turner, making his 8th start of the season. Record 1-3, ERA 5.59, looking to get back on the winning track. His last start took the loss against the Atlanta Braves, but previous start against the Milwaukee Brewers, a team that was playing very well, still playing very well. He pitched into the 7th, gave up no earned runs, and picking up that lone win.
David DeJesus, as the Rays continue to try to get their offense in gear, and they got off to a good start last night when DeJesus walked. Zobrist and Longoria hit back-to-back home runs, but it turned out that was all of the scoring except the run they managed to push across the plate in the 9th inning, which left them a run short.
Boy, they had a very good chance for that tying run. That 9th inning had really unfolded the way that you would have hoped. Just ended up not meeting expectations, much like really the last 2 weeks of baseball for the Rays.
That's exactly how it's been. Two-1 to count on DeJesus. That will even the count. 2-2.
Jacob Turner, tall, 6'4", 6'5", lanky right-hander, tries to keep the ball down with good sink. Got a pretty good curveball to go with it. Has trouble throwing strikes with it, though. If you're patient with that pitch, a lot of times it's in and out of the zone, and also a changeup and a slider.
Toward the line and left, Yelich on the run. That's going to be a fair ball. Falling out of his reach for a base hit. Turned it first, and DeJesus hangs on there. Well, let's see if that's the start the Rays need in this game.
Well, good at bat by David DeJesus. His ball running in on him. He just inside out, kind of a flare, but well placed. Just drops it in front of Yelich. Leadoff man aboard, and that's always a good thing.
Now Ben Zobrist. Takes the first pitch for a ball. Ben worked the count to 3-1 yesterday on unloaded a 2-run home run.
That ball stayed right out over the plate, actually even maybe a little bit middle in, and Ben Zobrist caught it well. It really looked like the Rays were off to something pretty special. First 3 hitters that came to the plate scored back-to-back home runs by Zobrist and Longoria, and it was a quick 3 runs for the Rays, but it stayed that way far too long.
The Rays had gone through a stretch of 6 consecutive games, scoring no more than 2 runs in each game until last night. Now it's 2-0.
Well, the Rays should have opportunities off of Jacob Turner. And this is a guy in his 7 starts, 5 of the starts, he's given up at least 4 earned runs, and he's only averaging about 5.5 innings a start. Teams have been able to run on him, and he has a hard time, as you could see here early on, keeping his pitches on the plate. This was a guy that came up through the minor leagues, and he was known as a control pitcher. But when you start digging deeper into the numbers, a lot of those strikes were due to chases. He has a hard time really keeping the ball on the plate for strikes consistently.
And he walks Zobrist on 4 pitches. So a base hit by DeJesus and the walk drawn by Zobrist. And that brings up Evan Longoria, who, like Zobrist last night, jumped on a 3-1 pitch, and this time he hit it out of here down the left field line.
Well, and you're hoping for the same start for the Rays because you have a pitcher that is struggling similarly than Tom Kohler was last night. Early on, trouble with command, trouble with getting the ball over the plate, putting themselves in a lot of poor counts, and the Rays capitalized early on. And then it would dry up from there, but Jacob Turner, same thing. Base hit, then a walk.
Big cut and a miss. Longoria trying to give the Rays the early lead with that swing.
Well, and starting last night, that's the swing that we've seen from Evan Longoria, especially early in the count. He has really turned it loose. Much more powerful swing. That one underneath the baseball. A bit too much of a dip.
1-1. A home run last night. 6th of the year. See the Rays hitless last night, despite the 4 runs. Hitless with men in scoring position. The little tapper to third. McGee to Solano, 1. First base safe there. So DeJesus goes to third base, and a fielder's choice allows Longoria to reach at first.
Well, the little chopping action on that and the hustle of Evan Longoria allowed him to stay out of the double play. You see right there, third baseman McGee had to play that ball back. And then Solano, he able to get the throw off, but everything took just a little bit too long. You saw Ben Zobrist going in hard, too. This is a team that has grounded into the second most double plays in baseball. And a lot of them have been rally killers.
And sometimes, and Joe Madden has addressed this about being more aggressive on the bases, starting runners, trying to stay out of them. They've actually done that, and they've still been snake bitten by the double play. Fly ball the opposite way off the bat of Loney. The catch by Yelich. Tag at third. DeJesus will score, and the Rays are out in front. DeJesus scores. Loney's 29th run batted in on a sacrifice fly.
Well, 2 nights in a row, the Rays have been able to score at least a run in the first inning, something they really haven't done a whole lot of in the last 3-4 weeks. But James Loney wasting no time. He gets a pitch with some elevation, get it to the outfield, take an early lead.
So they turn the leadoff base hit into a run. 2 outs with Longoria back in at first base. Rays were 0 for 9 last night with men in scoring position. It's a strike to Jennings. Desmond starting the day at 232. 0 for 4 last night. 1-1. There's Turner. Righties a lot more success than lefties against him. How about that?
And that should not be the case the way that his stuff sets up. But again, it's Jacob Turner putting himself into bad counts, and that's why, you know, everybody wants the Rays offense right now. Been struggling to be aggressive. Today might not be the day to do that. You may want to be patient with Jacob Turner because of the fact he's, you know, prone to getting himself into bad counts. Here no, but over the course of a ball game, you'll see a lot of 2-0, 2-1. And you know what? That's the other thing. If he does show that day that he's out there pounding the zone, then you make the adjustment. You say, hey, guys, you know what? He's on. He's getting ahead of us. Let's be ready to go.
Yeah, the other side of that is here's a guy who might miss not only off the plate, but he might miss over the plate somewhere.
Yeah, he could. But he just, you know, he had one of the lowest percentages of strikes out over the plate. I mean, he was up there with the kind of guys that are striking out 250 guys a year.
Ground ball to second, and Solano takes care of that. So Jennings is out number 3. The Rays get a run and lead 1-0. his horse around the bases, but he scored a run anyway. So ride him, Cowboy. Rays out in front, 1-0.
You know, the Belmont is this weekend.
That's right. Trying to break a 9-game losing streak.
Hey, anything. Try anything.
Garrett Jones. First pitch is a strike. Waiting for the next ride.
Well, at least no one asked for a live chicken.
1-1 count. Jones has seen a lot of time against right-handed pitching, and his splits are very good that way. 264 overall. He's hit 8 home runs.
And all of them against right-handed pitching. There you have it.
And that's why he's seen mostly right-handed pitching. He's out on strikes. Out in front of that pitch as it dipped. Strikeout number 3 for Odorizzi. Time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #SunSportsFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in our broadcast later in the game. Brought to you by AT&T. So 3 strikeouts in the early going for Odorizzi. He had 63 in just under 53 innings on the year coming into this game. And there's that slow curveball for a strike.
That's the pitch that really has allowed Jake Odorizzi to rack up those strikeouts. Not because he's getting them on that pitch, but it sets up everything else. He has really used that slow curve and the four-seam fastball as a wonderful tandem. In fact, if you look at his splits, pitches across the top of the strike zone, batting average of 0 across the board. When he's at the top of the strike zone and just above, nobody has put that ball into play and gotten a hit, and very few even at the top of the strike zone. And for a guy that's not throwing 96, 97, that's impressive.
So he's cued toward the dugout, foul, and it's 2-2. Ball headed toward the dugout. And Alex Cobb was getting out of the way in a hurry. There's that pitch up, and another strikeout.
This is exactly, Dwayne, this is exactly what you and I talked about before and what we just talked about a few seconds ago. The fastball over the plate with elevation. Guys just cannot get to it. They cannot get to it. He has exploited them, and it really started in that outing against the Cleveland Indians, where he racked up 11 strikeouts in 5 innings, and many of them on pitches just like this.
So back-to-back strikeouts. Here's Justin Bour making his major league debut.
So he had some big-time numbers at New Orleans. Hitting .330, 9 home runs. Well, there you go. 36 runs batted in. And oh, by the way, was on a 7-game hitting streak when he was recalled. No batting gloves.
Well,
big guy.
The time to get to the big leagues.
Yeah.
When you're hot in the minor leagues. And he's way up in the count here. 3-0. He's out of George Mason University. And picked by the Marlins out of the Chicago Cubs organization. Three and 1 to count to him. That's a strike. The count is full.
Fastball here by Odorizzi, right on the borderline.
And Odorizzi comes back to strike him out with a fastball. He strikes out the side. 5 strikeouts through the first 2. We go to the bottom half of inning 2 with the Rays leading 1-0. There's a changeup. There's a fastball up and a fastball and a swing and a miss. Open the home half of the second inning here at the Trop. And this has far and away been his favorite place to hit. Our Toyota Trend, 359 at home, 193 on the road. And he's coming in today off the 3-for-3 night last night. Hitting against the right-hander Jacob Turner. First pitch is in there, a strike.
Those numbers are always hard to explain once you start to get into a season a couple of months. You know, you're facing the same shifts, the same types of pitchers.
It's a pop foul. McGee chases it from third, but has no play.
Yeah, really what it comes down to, and what you're thinking it comes down to, is just a comfort factor. You know, living at home, you know, coming to a place that you're going to play half of your games in, just feel more comfortable, feel more confident, and obviously those numbers reflect that.
Count still 2 strikes with the foul ball. On deck, Escobar. Chop. Solano at second gets a nice big hop. Joyce is out of there.
Well, that's what Jacob Turner wants. He's not a big strikeout guy, but he wants to induce a lot of ground balls, and when he's able to do that, he will have success.
And he's had difficulty doing that, over the course of just a handful of games the last couple of years, but his ground ball rate last year was under 50%.
A little bit better job this year, but that's where the command has started to come into play. That's why the league coming into play today was hitting 327 off of him.
Escobar takes a ball. Big cut there by Escobar on a fastball.
And that's where Escobar has to be careful. He does have a big, aggressive swing. He always has. He probably always will have. But it can have the tendency to get too big. And when your swing gets too big, it is really easy to exploit.
One hop to short. Echeverria's right there with it. 2 up and 2 down. You need a gift for Dad, the MLB.com at Bat app, and a subscription to its premium features on his favorite smartphone or tablet are perfect for Father's Day. Dad will have access to features such as live look-ins, instant replay, live audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. For details, visit MLB.com. Great gift for Dad. Kevin Kiermaier takes a big cut and misses. That's a strike. Stays wide. Throw him a breaking ball there.
Well, the little that we've seen of Kevin Kiermaier, I know, Dwayne, I speak for you too, very impressed.
Absolutely, with his approach. He plays hard. And probably last night a learning experience for him in the ninth inning when he was the runner at third on that chop to first.
Yeah, that's an instinctive, play where you want to read it, you want to see that ball, and as soon as you see it chopped.
Reaches out, he's going to drop that one fair, back at third. He'll hustle this one into two, and he makes it standing up. Throw back in there, and he had to hustle to get back after turning the bag.
Well, that's one thing that you're always going to get from Kevin Kiermaier is he really comes out of the box hot. Last night, he was able to double on a chopper over the head of Garrett Jones at first base. There, he flips one right over the head of Casey McGee. But he comes out of that. Watch him come out of here. Boy, gets to full speed quickly. Rounds first is going to be an easy double. You go back to that chopper last night, that's where you want to make that read, but you've got to make it quickly. When you see it chopped, you bust it towards home plate, and just a little bit of indecision on Kevin Kiermaier's part kept him at third, and he would ultimately end up staying at third. The Rays would drop the game, and it's one of those situations that you catalog and you learn from it, and he will.
Yeah, here's the thing about him already in the handful of games that we've seen him play. It's a pretty sure bet that is turned into a learning situation. And if he's in that spot again, he's going to score.
Yeah. If the same thing happens today, you're right. He scores, and he probably scores pretty easily.
But that's part of the process, and you know that better than most of us, having been there and in the dugout and around. When a young player comes to the big leagues, there are instances like that he's going to kick himself. The manager's going to think, boy, we should have scored. Just the learning process.
Yeah.
Developing.
The team's struggling. You don't want to make a big mistake. You're more cautious than you probably normally would be. The last thing you want to do is break towards home and get thrown out at the plate, and everybody goes, oh, why were you going on that? But
as aggressive as he can be, he still doesn't want to make a mistake. That's something that there he goes, trying to steal third, and he's in there. Got a great jump.
8 for 8, now 9 for 9. Base stealers off of Jacob Turner. He never stopped him. Watch Kiermaier. He gets a little running start and not even a throw. Casey McGee doesn't even cover.
So Kiermaier gets his first steal of third. Solis strikes out to retire the side. Rays do not score, and at the end of 2 they lead 1-0. lead over the Marlins. Core's memorable moment on this date in 1961. Right-hander Robin Roberts, who will finish his career playing with 3 other clubs, wins his last game for the Phillies when he beat the Giants at Candlestick Park 3-2. The future Hall of Famer's lone victory for that season, a complete Game 6 hitter. His 234th win for Philadelphia, the most by a right-hander in franchise history. Jacob Odorizzi has recorded 5 strikeouts through the first 2 innings. JT Realmuto leads it off. He's the catcher. And he takes a first pitch strike.
Those are his numbers in Double-A. How about the Marlins today have 2 players making their major league debut? We saw Bohr already struck out to end the 2nd inning, and now Realmuto getting a call from Double-A making his debut.
And they've been impressed with his progress in their minor league system, obviously to the point where when they needed to add a guy to the roster, he's right there.
Well, how about if I throw a name at you? He had worked this offseason and then into spring training very closely with Bobby Ramos.
Well, of course.
There you go. Sugar Bear.
The shot into right. Oh, it's going to be caught by Kiermaier. Kiermaier with a great jump, got there a little early, and then had to put on the brakes and reach up to make the grab.
Did not need that last half cup of coffee, Kevin Kiermaier. Well, he got going pretty quick and almost sailed right by this.
Now, we've seen Bobby Ramos do that. With that move, I was just wondering, not only has Bobby helped the young catcher with the Marlins with his catching, but he's got to be one of the best dancers on the team.
Well, we saw it every half inning.
Kept the bullpen lively with his moves down there and his stay with the Rays.
And the plane and the clubhouse.
That's right.
Whatnot.
Echeverria, the shortstop up here, 1-0 the count to him. It's popped to the right side, and Maloney after this one just inside the line. 2 gone.
Now this is another thing that you want to see out of Jake Odorizzi. He's racking up the strikeouts, but he's also doing it in a pretty efficient manner.
Yeah, that first inning, interesting. 21 pitches. He had faced just 4 men. Did not have a 3-ball count on any of them, and still had a 21 pitch inning.
And it's been the foul ball. That's been the foul ball, the inability to finally put somebody away. Which is strange to say when the guy's got 5 strikeouts through the first 2 innings.
Yep. Well, McGee fouled off 4 pitches, had a 9-pitch at bat, and he got him on the fly ball to center. 1-1 with Christian Yelich.
And those are the things that you will learn, that Jake Odorizzi will continue to learn as he makes progress as a starting pitcher in the major leagues. Try to learn efficiency. You know, I remember getting a chance to play with Chuck Finley, and he was a guy that could ring up some big strikeout numbers, and he said, if I could go out there and get you on the first pitch to hit a ground ball, I would rather have that than a strikeout. It'll allow me to pitch deeper into the game. And so you'll figure out how to do that.
Odorizzi starting his 2nd time through, and as we've discussed so often, that has been a challenge in his career for him. Numbers very good the first time through, and feeling a little bit better that he's making some progress in that department, and a little more variety in the selection of pitches will help him.
It's about making quicker adjustments. That's all it is. That first time through lets you know that Jake Odorizzi comes into a ball game against a particular lineup with a very good game plan. 2nd and 3rd show you that he's a little bit slow to make adjustments, and it ends up catching up to him. He's been better lately because those numbers, as bad as they were right there, were much worse a few starts ago. So he is making progress, but it's about being quick to that adjustment, and that falls, you know, on his shoulders, but also he can get a lot of help from his catcher too.
And a cut and a miss. Yelich out on strikes. Got him with the hard stuff the first time. Soft stuff this time. 1-0 Rays. And to bat in the bottom of the third inning. In the game today and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Ben Zobrist got into the home run act last night along with Evan Longoria. And it will be DeJesus, Zobrist, and Longoria here in the third against Jacob Turner. Ground ball to first. Jones with a flip to Turner. One pitch and one out. Turner, young man out of St. Louis. He went to high school in St. Louis and was teammates with the sons of Mike Matheny and Todd Worrell. Matheny, the Cardinal manager. And then drafted by the Detroit Tigers. The liner, foul. Oh yeah, nice adjustment.
That's right. Thought it was going to be a backhand and then a late flip of the glove.
Showing that a couple of moments last night, mere aberrations. This, the true test. That's why we have the Phantom Cam. Oh, no, he's done it before, no problem.
Yeah, he boxed one early last night, then came back a hitter or two later, made a nice play.
Yep.
Now he's digging it. And then he sits down and that heart rate's about 173.
Right. The big hop to Jones first. He'll make the play unassisted.
Well, let's go back to last night and take a look at John and the odyssey that he's been on the last 24 hours. Right off the heel. Now, this was coming after an earlier box. Then he made a nice play. Then there was that one. It was an up and down night for John, but he's off to a good start this afternoon.
Yeah. Well, you got to show up and keep going. Forget those things yesterday.
That is the beauty of this game.
Yep.
Every day, you better have a short memory and come out ready to perform.
Evan Longoria after the first pitch, and he swings over that. Strike one. Count goes to 1-1 to Evan. Mahoney would be next if Longoria should reach. Cut, roller foul.
Well, high hopes for Jacob Turner. Dwayne, you mentioned that he was in the Detroit Tiger organization, came to the Marlins in that trade, the Anibal Sanchez, Omar Infante deal, as the Marlins were getting rid of some salary, trying to stock up the system, get some young talent infused.
2-2 now.
Saw Henderson Alvarez earlier in this Citrus series. He, of course, came from Toronto in that big deal. That was 12 players.
And he gets a slider. Strikes out Longoria. We're at the end of 3. On to the 4th. 1-0 Rays. This lead, they scored a run in the first. Saturday, it's a full day of MLB action, beginning with the Indians taking on the Rangers on Fox Sports 1. Then it's baseball night in America on Fox as the Yankees square off against the Royals. Our MLB doubleheader begins Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and continues at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox. First pitch in the 4th to Donovan Solano is a strike call, a fastball. A lot of strikes so far from Jake Odorizzi. Ahead 0-2.
It was at 9 out of 11 first pitch strikes. And I know that for Jim Hickey, the pitching coach for the Tampa Bay Rays, he's more interested in getting to 1-2 as opposed to 2-1. But guess what? Getting 0-1 makes that a little bit easier.
Yes, it does.
You get the jump. And now he's firmly up in the count 0-2.
Hopper shallow right. Kiermaier's right there. 1 away.
You know, that's a textbook sequence right there by Jake Odorizzi to induce weak contact. He gets the jump, fastball strike 1. He elevates, gets a foul ball. Then he comes back with that changeup. And because the hitter's defensive and trying to cover everything to stay alive, he gets the weak contact and a weak little fly ball to right field.
Yeah, and that's at least the third out he's gotten with a changeup. 2 of those have been on strikeouts.
The changeup so far this afternoon has been very consistent. That's another part of his game. That was a pitch that he learned in spring training. This was a guy that was out to try and win the job with the Rays as the 5th starter, and he's going through spring training with a split change that he learned from Alex Cobb in trying to do that. Here's the slow curve that's played a big role for him, but that changeup, the more consistent he gets with it, the more efficient he'll become.
How about that slow curve, and then he dots it right up with a fastball.
And what happens is it says 91 on the gun. It looks 93, 94, 95 to Stanton after that slow curve.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Changing eye levels.
Yeah. Well, he's following directions.
I think Ali Solis maybe 8 to 10 feet further, and he had a shot.
That's just foul outside of third base. But that's the thing about Stanton. He's so strong and so quick.
What about the double that he hit last night off David Price? That ball was, I mean, on the outer edge, maybe off the plate away, and he pulled it to left center field on a line.
It just kept going.
Top of the wall.
I mean, the normal hitter hits that pitch at that on a line like that. Forget it.
Lazy line drive to the left fielder to end the inning.
Yeah.
That one just shot off the bat, kept going, and you know, a couple of feet from being a home run.
And he got him reaching. Stanton, strikeout number 7.
Well, what the Rays will do is they will highlight a particular hitter or hitters in the opposing lineup and say, we do not want to allow this guy to beat us. Stanton, of course, is going to be that guy, and they have pitched him very, very tough. Even like with the double that we're referring to from last night was not a bad pitch from David Price. It was just a better job of hitting by Stanton. But other than that, they pitched him very well.
McGee, curveball, he takes it high. Well, disrupt timing and balance. The Rays have pretty much been able to do that with a great hitter in Stanton. Cut by McGee on the fastball, fouling it.
And they're changing the looks that they give him. You know, early on, the couple of games in Miami, there were an awful lot of fastballs pounded in and in off the plate. Now you see him starting to expand that zone away, and he gets them with the slider. So they've shown him a lot.
He saw a lot in just that last at bat. Curveball, fastball perfectly placed. And a change thrown into the dirt. And that split. Got him on a slider.
Yeah, the whole arsenal.
The middle, over the mound, over the bag, and through into center field for McGee.
Because the Rays shift so much, even when a guy hits a ball like that, you don't assume a base hit anymore. The way the Rays will place their defenders, but you see where they are, and this ball literally right over the rubber, right over second base. No chance for anybody to get there.
And you know, you really have to hand it to McGee there. They're playing him that way because he's hitting the ball all over the place.
Yeah, well, we saw that last night. You know, the run that he drove in, he snuck a ground ball, a hard hit ground ball in between James Loney and the first baseline. So he'll hit the ball to right. We've seen him yank some to left. Well, that's why those numbers, your runners in scoring position, the amount of RBIs that he's been able to accumulate with just 1 home run so far.
It's down and in to Garrett Jones. Ball, no strikes. 32-year-old first baseman. Over from Pittsburgh. He had 15 home runs for the Pirates. It's this one on the ground. That's out of the reach of Escobar. He had trouble getting started. Kiermaier overruns it. Over to third goes McGee. Holding at first is Jones. It'll be first and third.
Fortunate. The Marlins were fortunate on a couple of different things here. First of all, that ground ball was not hit that hard, but watch the placement. I mean, just perfectly by the dive of Escobar. And then Kiermaier coming up here. You see how close it is right there. And then Ben Zobrist was close. Kiermaier's got a chance to throw McGee out at third. And the eyes come up just a little bit too soon, and the ball squirts underneath his glove. I tell you, I would love to have seen a play right there because McGee was just rounding second at the time that ball went under his glove. He would have had a great shot with his arm to get him at third.
So with 2 outs, a threat. Jim Hickey spending some time on the mound. Marcell Ozuna is going to be the hitter for the Marlins.
And Marcell Ozuna, he's hit safely in 11 of his last 13. 4 of those ball games, he's had multiple hit games. Strikeout in the second inning. This is a guy who got really hot last May, and then the league started to change up on him a little bit, started to have success against him, and that's how the Rays have had success against him in this series overall. They have really changed speeds on him well and kept him off balance. We'll see if Jake takes the same tack this time.
And a foul ball the other way just outside the first base bag for a strike. Ozuna made a big jump from the lower minor leagues to the big leagues last year in 265 in 70 games. Cut the miss. 0-2.
You'll take it.
Started to go out after that one, took the pitch up.
And Chris Conroy came out of his stance. Made you wonder if he was going to call it. Right here, look.
A little off.
No. That's all right. You can do that. 0-2. Expand just a little bit. See if Ozuna is willing to go out that far. If he's not, all right. Ways to get him.
Oh, he shot it again. Just missed with that one.
That was a carbon copy. A carbon copy of the previous pitch. Same break, same area.
So now it's a 2-2 count. McGee at third, Jones at first. Rizzi will start it all again.
Wow, that's when he comes set. Now, am I sure that's what I want to do? I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're throwing it with conviction, whatever it is.
And that's it. You'd rather throw the wrong pitch with conviction than the right pitch with none.
Ground ball, that's going to go through, a base hit. And it will score McGee. And this game is tied 1-1.
And that was a changeup. And that was a changeup that stayed hittable. And the previous ones, he's getting a lot of swings and misses, bad contact, had good diving action on it. See where that one stayed? That one stayed thigh high. And that's when we talk about the inconsistency of that pitch. A few of them every game will end up here, and this one ends up coming back to hurt Jake.
So there's Justin Bohr. Rizzi fell behind him 3-0 in the second inning and then came back to strike him out. Making his major league debut, and Bohr takes a big cut at the fastball, strike one.
Justin Bohr, 6'4", 250 pounds. And you better believe he's got some juice.
He's got a run in the first. The Marlins have a run in the fourth. The chopper by the mound, picked up by Zobrist, no play, and the bases are going to be loaded. Ben had no place to go once he scooped that one.
Well, you get a guy like Justin Bohr, and that's his first major league hit, to chop the ball into the ground like that. If he's able to get it over the head of Jake Odorizzi, there's not going to be a play because Ben Zobrist has to come from so far away to try to make a play. Look where he's at, playing deep, because respecting the power of Bohr. Jake can't get there, and then guess what? Neither is Ben.
So hit number one in the big leagues for Justin Bohr. Bases are loaded. JT Realmuto, the catcher who lined to right his first time. And shoots a base hit into center. Jones will score. Ozuna heads to the plate. So on the very next pitch, Real Muto comes up with his first big league hit. And the Marlins take a 3-1 lead just that quickly.
Yeah, well, and that's the unfortunate thing. Look back at the beginning of this inning, right after we take a look at this shot by Real Muto. That was a fastball, a little bit too much elevation out over the plate. Second time through the lineup, here come the Marlins. And how about this? This inning started off with a fly ball to right by Donovan Solano, strikes out Stanton, and then single, 5 in a row. Started with Casey McGee right back up the middle on a ground ball, and it has not stopped.
Echeverria, the shortstop, who popped out his first time up. The pitch floats high, that slow curve up out of the zone. Ball, no strikes.
This is where the game can start to speed up on a young pitcher.
And when you think about it, there was the changeup that was up that Ozuna hit. Then the chopper, the infield hit, kept it going. And that fastball was out up over the plate a bit.
You know, it's one thing if you elevate by design, and Jake Odorizzi has the ability to do that. But that pitch, you know, it had elevation, but it was out over where Real Muto could get, you know, his arms extended. And it was also the first pitch. And he took full advantage.
Fastball high, taken for ball 2.
And that's just how, Dwayne, you just said it, that's how quickly things can unravel. Now the pitch count starts to climb again. 3 runs on the board, not out of trouble, behind at 2-0.
He's got a 25 pitch inning going right now after getting the first 2 men. And up again out of the zone.
And overthrowing just a little bit and getting a little bit quick with his front side, a little bit quick with his body. Now you're trying to make something happen, and instead of staying mechanically sound and over the rubber long enough, you want to get something going, so you head towards home plate before your arm is able to get behind you and ready to throw the baseball. So therefore it's never able to catch up. And
Dickey's on the phone to the bullpen right there. There's the strike. Well, you got a couple of things going, I would think. Number one, you're going to try to pump it up. You're a little angry here that this has happened, and at the same time, when you make all those pitches in a short period of time, there is a little of that of the weariness factor that you have to contend with. Check swing right there on a roller to second. Zobrist takes care of Echeverria, but 8 men come to the plate. They score 3, 3-1 Miami. Phantom Cam with us again today. Some great looks of the game. Kiermaier's double back in the second inning. The Marlins put together 5 consecutive hits, scored 3 runs in the top of the 4th. The Rays come in trailing here in the bottom half of the 4th. You know, when you've lost 9 in a row and you get a little lead and it was only 1 run. But now the opposition scores 3 and you're coming in to hit in the bottom of the 4th. It's an extra challenge to get yourself back up and say, let's get right back in this game.
This is where the players need to rally themselves. You know, this does not fall on Joe Madden. This does not fall on Derek Shelton. Doesn't fall on the coaching staff. This is where the players have to say, hey, let's go. Let's go get something done. Let's give them a run, you know, whatever it is, however you have to handle it. These are the guys that need to take care of things.
2-0 the count.
You know, that's the biggest misnomer in sports, are these big rah-rah speeches and big pump-up stuff is going to get the job done. That, you know, in football, it lasts a play or two. It lasts until you go down in special teams and get your block knocked off, and then you've got to make the adjustment from there. In baseball, it very rarely works.
Well, and here's the thing, too. You know, you take football, it's a smaller universe in terms of games and plays.
Oh, yeah.
So a little rah-rah, if it affects 2 or 3 plays, okay, there's some significance there. That can make a difference in a game. Baseball, there's so many variables and it's stretched out so much that these players really have to be self-reliant in terms of being ready to play and getting up to play. Line drive on that 3-1 pitch caught by McGee.
Yeah, at any time that you've had a closed-door meeting, whether it be players only, whether it be a manager coming in and turning the spread over and doing whatever, all the meaning behind that is to do nothing more than just to rattle the cages of those guys and get them focused back in on doing the little things, having the approach that will lead to long-term success. It's not going to have any bearing, you know, on that night's game as far as what's going to happen out on the field, but if it gets these guys to, okay, wait a minute, this is, you know, you get a guy that doesn't do it very often and it gets you locked in. Okay, what can I do? I can do this, I can try that. You know, whatever it is, get you refocused on the little things, and then the little things will translate out on the field. That's the key. And also, if you have one of those meetings when your ace is going out to pitch, that's pretty smart too. Every time we had a closed-door meeting, it was funny. Randy Johnson was pitching that day, or Kurt Schilling. That was great. And everybody was, then the manager was a genius when the game was over.
That's right. Pitchers like that make a lot of geniuses. Right. 1-2 the count on Desmond. Little contact foul holding the count. And a ball and 2 strikes.
And that's the challenge of this game. Because the moment you start the woe is us, nothing's going our way, you know, line drive by James Loney, it's right at somebody, you know, that defeatist type of attitude,
yeah,
you're done. The margin for error at this level is so small and razor thin that if you take that kind of attitude, you're done.
Echeverria from shortstop makes this play. Jennings is the second out. That's 6 in a row, retired now by Turner. Rays Flex Packs have been a hit with fans across Tampa Bay. Score one for yourself and choose any 3, 6, or 9 games you want to attend throughout the season at great savings and receive members-only rewards. To purchase your Flex Pack, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit raysbaseball.com/flex. Joyce takes a strike. The Yankees beat Oakland 2-1. Tanaka's now 9-1, by the way. And the Yankees are 10-2 when he pitches. When other guys are on the mound, they're 20-27. So speaking of being a genius,
yeah,
you know, you got Tanaka going. They're pretty smart. Fly ball short center. Ozuna is going to watch that one fall in front of him. And Joyce has a 2-out single.
Now listen, this is how it started for the Marlins. A little 2-out base hit up the middle. And 4 hits later, they had 3 runs. So nothing to say that the Rays can't do the same right here.
Escobar grounded to short in the second inning. And at 256 this time around. A high fly ball driven into deep left center. Ozuna there, though, makes the catch to retire the side. We're going to head into the 5th. It's 3-1 Miami. The Marlins lead the Rays onto the 5th inning here at the Trop. Say it is so. Weezer comes to town to play the Rays Summer Concert Series Saturday. After the Rays take on the Mariners, they'll play hits like Say It Ain't So, Buddy Holly, and Undone, the Sweater Song. The concert free with the purchase of that game's ticket. Visit RaysBaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. That's this Saturday after the Rays and the Mariners.
I like that they finally included Buddy Holly in the read.
Yep.
Because that's solid. All the way around. Good song, better video.
And you can see it all live here Saturday. Boom. 1 strike to count to Christian Yelich. Rizzi has struck him out twice. Starts the 3rd time through the lineup. 1-1 to count. 7 strikeouts for Odorizzi. Giving up 3 runs, 6 hits. It's out of play, 1-2.
And those 3 runs came on 5 hits in a 5-hitter span with 2 outs in the top of the 4th. Miami got hot for a stretch. Able to take this lead. Wow.
And back into the dugout it goes on the Carroll.
And that hit it probably 3/4 of the way up the first level off an empty chair. Nobody saw that.
Too low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Important inning here, not only for the Rays, down 2, cannot let Miami extend this lead, but also for Jake Odorizzi and his confidence. 3rd time through the lineup now.
And strike 3 call. Yelich not happy with the call to the plate umpire Chris Conroy. That'll be strikeout number 8.
And Yelich may have a point. This pitch may be just off the plate, but when they're this close and you put it in the hands of the home plate umpire, sometimes you're not going to get the call. And that was close enough to be called.
Donovan Solano. First pitch in there, strike call. Blue Jays beat the Tigers in Detroit 7-3. J-Haps 5-2. They beat Verlander. Now 6-5. Zobrist makes this play. So 2 outs here in the 5th. 4th inning started with a fly ball to right and a strikeout. And then the Marlins scored 3. 2 outs, bases empty here in the 5th. In fact, Odorizzi's retired the first 2 men in every inning, and he had a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings.
And that was his trouble spot coming in. You know, when you look at Jake Odorizzi's numbers as they break out over the season, when leading off an inning, the opposing lineup had a .446 on-base percentage. That's almost every other inning, the leadoff man aboard. He's kept him from doing that, but it was that one stretch last inning that got him.
And it was a strange little stretch, and that's the point that Joe Madden was talking about the other day. Some of the losses during this tailspin for the Rays have been weird losses. Strange things happen, and sometimes things that don't happen are strange, and you wind up losing games.
You go back to that game the other night in Miami. The Rays lose a ball game 1-0. Henderson Alvarez on the mound. He gives up 8 hits, complete game. He gives up 8 hits, gets 3 ground ball double plays, strikes out 5 guys, and does it on 88 pitches.
Yep.
I mean, just an amazing performance. How he can cram all of that into 88 pitches. He threw 17 over the last 3 innings. I mean, that's what got you. 6 strong, but then you go 7, 8, 9, 1-0 game. And so you're going to try to work him. You're going to try to. You need 1 run, 1 swing at the bat. And over the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, he retired the Rays on 17 total pitches.
Wow.
9 outs.
Yep. The chop, deep, short, long throw coming from Escobar. In time to get Stanton, and it's a 1-2-3 5th. Rays coming into bat down 3-1.
Joins the Tampa Bay Rays and all of Major League Baseball in celebrating the life and career of Don Zimmer. Don debuted with Brooklyn's Boys of Summer and played a dozen seasons before serving as a coach and manager across the span of 6 decades, capturing 6 World Series. Husband, father, friend to so many in baseball, we salute Don Zimmer, a true gentleman of the game.
Win one for Zim. That's what Don would be saying. Tom Foley continuing to wear that jersey with Zim's name on the back, and 66 for the years he has spent in this game. 1-0 the count to Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier doubled his first time up there. Now ahead in the count 2-0. He was the last runner to reach base for the Rays. before Joyce singled with 2 outs in the 4th, and Escobar hit the fly ball to center. And now 2-0 here on Kiermaier to open the 5th. 2-1.
Jacob Turner has settled down and started to incorporate all of his pitches. We've seen a couple of curveballs. We've seen some good changeups. He's kept the fastball down for the most part. Start to look through the Rays here. A lot of weak contacts and ground balls.
There's a long one. High and deep and gone. Kiermaier connects. Third home run this year for Kevin Kiermaier, and that makes it a 3-2 ball game.
You know, Jacob Turner stays away for the most part from the slider to the left-handed hitter, except with 2 strikes. And he hung that one. Well, that ball got blasted by Kevin Kiermaier. And the Rays now just down just 1.
Luis Solis, the Rays catcher, takes one down. Kiermaier with 3 home runs. His first one to the opposite field. Then he hit the inside the park home run, and he pulled this one, and boy did he pull this one.
California Chrome, baby.
Well, score a run, get a ride.
Grown men. It's the beauty of baseball.
Bounce foul down in front of Tom Foley. The Rays trim it to just a 1-run deficit. Solis reaching is out on strikes for the second time.
Number 7, David DeJesus.
So we go back to the top of the batting order. David DeJesus. Singled and scored a run. 1 for 2 on the day. Shortens on the bat and takes that pitch low. A breaking ball that wound up down out of the zone. It's 1-1. It's a 3-run, 6-hit attack for Miami, a 2-run, 4-hit attack for the Rays. And Jesus now behind in the count.
Now, we talked about Jake Odorizzi, and as he works his way through a lineup, Jacob Turner has had some trouble. You know, once he gets to the 3rd time through, opposition hitting almost 400 off of him. 395.
Well, this is the beginning of the 3rd time through with DeJesus up here.
Will it hold?
Rays certainly plan on continuing that trend as they try to snap their losing streak.
This is where you've got to come up with different sequences for certain hitters. At this point, most everybody has seen about everything that you have to offer.
Chop over the mound behind the bag at second. Echeverria handles that. So DeJesus is out short to first.
Number 18, Brandon.
Well, none of these numbers overall very pretty, but it really jumps up there the 3rd time at 395. And again, that's what, you know, the challenge of a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball is to be able to make adjustments throughout the game and be able to get good hitters out 3 and 4 times.
Here's Zobrist going after one. High and deep to right center. Tie ball game. Ben Zobrist ties it at 3. Ben Zobrist connects for the 5th time this year. Hit one last night, gets this one in this game.
And you saw the grip, but if you didn't, I'll tell you, it was a changeup, and it stayed thigh high, middle of the plate, and Ben Zobrist back-to-back nights.
You know who that makes happy? Jake Odorizzi.
New life.
So we're all even 3-3. Evan Longoria takes a pitch down. Two and 0. Score a run. Take a ride.
That was not a clean ride. Sideways.
Shot right back through the middle. That had Turner ducking on the mound. And Longoria is aboard.
And it's a good thing he ducked and good thing he had follow through, because that ball right over the top of Jacob Turner. Watch this.
Coming right at you there. Oh my goodness. He'll get a visit from Chuck Hernandez. Well, you could see it written on his face after giving up the home run to Zobrist, and then that shot right back over the mound. You can see all over Turner's face where he is right now.
Well, that, I mean, listen, a line drive, and I don't know what the speed on that was, but it was plenty. That'll shake you up a little bit.
So Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach, spends some time with him out there.
Yeah, and if you ask Jacob Turner right now what Chuck had to say, coin flip on whether he knows.
Well, James Loney is the next hitter due for the Rays. He drove in a run with a fly ball to left in the first. Officially 0 for 1 on a line drive to third base. Rays have Longoria aboard, 2 outs. And the curveball to start Loney. He takes it for a strike. Jake McGee up in the Rays bullpen.
This is how badly the Rays need a win. Jake McGee, not often he's up throwing at any time in the 5th.
Rays have hit 2 home runs in the inning. Kiermaier and Zobrist have connected. Ground ball toward the middle, and Echeverria shaded there, makes the play. But the Rays come up with 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 long ones. Home run number 3 on the year for Kiermaier. And for Ben Zobrist, home run number 5 to pull the Rays even 3-3 through 5. Meyer and Zobrist, and the Rays have tied this game at 3. On to the 6th inning we go. Jay Godorizzi with 8 strikeouts, 90 pitches through 5. Casey McGee lead it off, and that first pitch a little bit outside. Jones due next, and then Ozuna, and Jake McGee stays busy in the bullpen.
And Joe Madden will not hesitate.
It's a strike, 1-1.
And he'll ride Jake as long as he's successful, but Joe Madden and the Rays want this win, and they know that the back end of their bullpen can match up and throw up a number of zeros. Good guys back there, starting with McGee. You've got Oviedo, you've got Peralta, you've got Balfour, you've got a number of options out there. Boxberger.
McGee up right now. He was throwing in the bottom of the 5th inning. Fly ball deep into right. Kiermaier going back, feeling for the wall, and that's going to be off the top of the wall. McGee heads to second with a double.
Boy, that was awfully close. Casey McGee with just 1 home run on the year. He pops this ball out deep into right center field off the top of the wall, and when we said Joe Madden will not hesitate, guess who's coming out?
And here's the 2-base hit the other way for McGee, his 14th, and that's how close it came. So a pitching change coming for the Rays. Joe Madden will make a call to the bullpen. Five innings plus, giving up the leadoff double in the 6th. And he gives way to Jake McGee. I don't know how you can be any better than Jake McGee has been. I mean, he just showed everybody right down for the entire month of May.
Well, look at the last 15 games. No runs allowed, more than a strikeout an inning. This guy right here, you can make the case that he has been the most productive Ray, given their specific roles.
And he's on to face Garrett Jones. See McGee, what he's done over the last 21 hitters. Retired them all, 10 strikeouts in that stretch. And here's Jones, 32-year-old first baseman. Pitch is wide. Jones has seen most of his action against right-handed pitching, hitting over 100 points higher against righties than lefties. Check swing, foul ball. How about this? When they got Jones, they added a contemporary of their manager, Mike Redmond. He made his major league debut with the Twins in May of '07 at Cleveland, and he started as the DH and batted 8th, right behind the current Marlins manager, Mike Redmond. 1-1 the count here on Jones. And that's going to be a little soft liner into left for a base hit, advancing McGee to third. Jones reaching out, making contact, and getting it through the left side.
Now that was going to be a tough at-bat for Jones, and he's able to take this pitch away. And look at him, just a little half swing, and he finds some open area to work with. Just drops that ball out into left field, and now the Marlins first and third with nobody out. And Ozuna. Now this is a guy that the Rays have had success against changing speeds. The guy out on the mound, not much of a change of speeds type of pitcher. He's straight fastball. Marcell Ozuna, a straight fastball hitter. This is a power matchup here.
Ozuna got the base hit, drove in a run in the 4th inning. Hits here in the 6th with men at first and third, and nobody out. Saw a shot of Brad Boxberger throwing in the Rays bullpen. The Rays tie it in the bottom of the 5th, and the Marlins back with an immediate threat in the top of the 6th. Base hit into center field off a fastball, and McGee scores the go-ahead run. It's 4-3. So the run charged to Odorizzi. Back-to-back base hits by Jones and Ozuna.
Yeah, and Ozuna, a good fastball hitter. You know you're going to get that from McGee, and he stays right on it. The location not quite where Jake wanted it. He stays middle in, and Ozuna, good swing, and shoots right back up the middle.
Justin Bour. The pitch is a strike. Bour got the infield chopper and a base hit in the 4th inning. So he is 1 for 2. Strike on the outside part of the plate. So the Marlins have turned the leadoff double into a run. That charged to Odorizzi 4 runs in 5 innings plus on the account of Jake Odorizzi today. Foul ball on the reach. Bour the hitter. Realmuto is on deck. Both these rookies picking up their first big league hits in this game. Or fouls the fastball the other way out of play. Jones at second, Ozuna at first. Loop foul and out of play. Jake McGee, who's been untouchable, has been touched for 2 base hits here in the 6th.
And Jake McGee has not been quite as explosive as we've seen him. The ball for whatever reason, doesn't seem to be jumping out of the hand as consistently as we've seen over this past run that he's been on.
Tapper fouled. He came in with the curveball there, or way out in front. Marlins scored 3 in the 4th. They have another one in the 6th inning, leading 4-3. A bit wide.
No, that's had some hair on it.
Yes, it did.
I think,
98.
Yeah. He goes for that outside corner, and he just misses. Just misses.
Or just up from New Orleans yesterday. And McGee at 97. Just missed a little wide again. It's 2-2. It's popped into shallow left. Joyce still coming. He'll get there to make the catch. That's the first out of the inning, and the runners remain at first and second. So McGee finally gets Bohr. This is looking, we're talking about Bohr coming up. He was hitting .330 at New Orleans. Number one, he's playing New Orleans in the Pacific Coast League. New Orleans sitting right on top of the Gulf, but they're in the Pacific Coast League. Nevertheless, the Pacific Coast League, known as a hitters league,
sure,
he was hitting .330. That was 8th in the league in hitting. 8th. He was hitting .330. He was out here the first out in the 6th.
It's holding up to its reputation.
Yeah, even in New Orleans, right on top of the Gulf.
So close to the Pacific Coast.
Well, here's the catcher, JT Realmuto. And he swings and misses the fastball. Strike one. Realmuto singled in 2 runs in that 4th inning. They got 5 consecutive hits and scored 3 in the 4th off Odorizzi. All of that with 2 outs. One and one.
Well, you know what? As this inning has moved on, Jake McGee looking like himself again. You know, the first fastball of this inning that he offered, well, actually it was the first fastball to Garrett Jones. Yeah, the fastball away, it was at 93, and he had a number at 93, 94, 94, 95, and now you're seeing that fastball back up in his normal range where it's powerful, tough to contend with.
It's fouled back. Looking back at that 4th, that's how quickly Miami scored 3 runs. They scored 3 runs in the span of 10 pitches, all on singles.
5 in a row.
Yep. A ball, 2 strike count. It's wide. 97. 2-2. Blue Jays beat the Tigers 7-3. They're 19-4 in their last 23 games. That's going to be a base hit into center. Jones heads to the plate. It's a 2-run inning and a 5-3 ball game. Ozuna advanced to third. A 3 RBI major league debut for JT Realmuto.
How about that low hands 2-strike approach? Look at him just go down and sweep that swing. And with a guy like Jake McGee, that pitch at 95 miles an hour, you let him supply the power, just try to get the barrel to it. That ball jumps out into center field, and the Marlins have answered the Rays.
Here's Echeverria, the shortstop. Marlins have clustered 4 hits around a fly ball here in the 6th and have regained the lead. A 2-run lead again. Cut the miss. Echeverria trying to get started early and out in front.
Yeah, and if he doesn't calm that swing down, shorten that swing down just a little bit, he is going to come up empty, especially after that pitch. If I'm Jake McGee, I'm going to start to climb the ladder on Echeverria.
Yeah, you can see him really try to widen that, get out with that front side.
And that swing got loopy, and you can beat him with that fastball belt and above if he's going to swing like that. But that's where adjustments come in. And a hitter, his brain will tell him, oh boy, I got beat on that. My swing got a little bit long. I got to shorten things up. And if they've got the ability to do that from pitch to pitch, then maybe they're able to get to it later on in the at-bat.
Over to first. First and third here with only 1 out. In the top of the 6th. Ground ball. Zobrist will take it to second out there. No chance for the double play. And another run crosses the plate. Ozuna scores. Fielder's choice. A run batted in for Echeverria, and it's a 3-run deficit now.
What he does is he forces Ben Zobrist to have to move to his left, spin, and throw long to Escobar. All that takes time. And that's why Echeverria able to beat it out over to first base. Actually didn't even take a throw. And that gives the Marlins another run. Now they've doubled up the Rays at 6-3.
Now here's the top of the order, Christian Yelich.
And look at that, right in the middle of the Marlins order. McGee, Jones, Ozuna, their last 2 at-bats. They've hit safely in all 6 of those at-bats and have scored all 6 runs.
Chopped to the first baseman. Loney, close at first. Loney just beats the hustling Yelich in for the out. This time 7 men come to the plate. They score 3 and lead 6-3.
Rays trailing the Marlins 6-3. Will Myers with the cast on his right wrist, the hairline fracture of that wrist. We caught up with Will yesterday and asked him about being in a little foreign territory with this injury.
This is really the first time, baseball-related injuries happened to me. I know in 2011 in AA I had something, but, to miss 6 weeks is different for me, 5 to 6 weeks. So it's going to be different. I felt something, it was throbbing, walking in from center field, but I definitely didn't think this. It continually got worse. That night I didn't really see much because of the pain, but I did not expect to be out 5 to 6 weeks.
Desmond Jennings leads off with a base hit here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Two other things Will said in typical Will fashion. He originally asked for that cast to be navy to match his Rays uniform. It didn't quite come out the exact color he was hoping for. And I asked him if he saw the x-ray. He said, I did, but I didn't really know what I was looking at. Guys, back to you.
I mean, do you doubt any of that?
No, it's right on. It's all accurate. It'll make a great book someday.
I mean...
There's Matt Joyce. So the leadoff single by Jennings. Rays find themselves trailing again.
When he was heading back to Tampa to have that wrist looked at, I actually ran into him that morning. And I'm not kidding you. This is how the conversation went. So, hey, how you feeling? Yeah, I feel pretty good. And, this guy, he holding his wrist. He's like, he's definitely feeling better. Pause, look away. Yeah, no, he's not. He really doesn't feel good at all. Like it's like a member of the media. Yeah, it's feeling better.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like he just caught himself like, yeah, no, it doesn't. It feels really bad.
Just telling you the truth.
Yeah. Saw a good look at the x-rays, but I don't really know what he's looking at. It's beautiful.
It's just outside.
I just hope when he comes back with a bang. We can get Todd down there and get his thoughts on everything.
Yeah. And then don't ever change.
No.
Dan Jennings, the left-hander, is in the bullpen for the Marlins. He's got 2 runs, 3 hits, and there's a shot by Joyce. That's well tagged. They're going to be over the head of Stanton off the wall. Jennings hitting third. Foley will wave him home. Digging for third. Joyce, a 3-bagger for Matt Joyce, and the Rays are down by 2. It's 6-4.
Actually, the way that things went last inning for Jacob Turner and the way that he is gone, kind of surprised that really he was back out there after they take that 3-run lead, and his trouble third time through the lineup and showing no signs it wouldn't stay that way. A quick base hit and a triple, and the Rays back within 2 now. But you got to figure, listen, you got a prime opportunity to at least make it 6-5 now.
Now Matt Joyce winds up at third with his first triple of the year. Janelle Escobar pops it up. Solano out from second base and to shallow center. That's the first out.
Well, and you can understand, Escobar wants to get that run in, but we talked earlier in the game when the swing will start to get big and a little bit too long, then it can be exploited, and that ball gets in on Escobar, and he's not able to get any kind of juice behind it. Soft little pop-up.
One out with Joyce still at third. And Kevin Kiermaier, who homered in the 5th inning, due up here. The Rays within 2. The Marlins have the left-hander Jennings in the bullpen, and here comes Redmond. And that's going to be it for Turner. The 23-year-old starter departs after 5 1/3. We'll be back in a moment. Copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Tampa Bay Rays and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. Well, the Rays within a couple now. It's 6-4, and they'll see the left-hander Dan Jennings, 26 years old, out of California. He has spent parts of the last 2 seasons in the big leagues with the Marlins. Kevin Kiermaier will face him. Jennings has held left-handed hitters to a .208 average, .353 against right-handed hitters.
He's a fastball slider, left-handed reliever, as you would imagine.
Kiermaier takes a look at that one inside a little bit. 2-0.
Well, and when you took a look at his numbers as he came in, 14 in the 3rd innings. He has given up 17 hits, but he's walked 7 also. So command at times can be a little spotty.
And he's behind Kiermaier, 3-0. And there is ball 4. He walks Kiermaier on 4 pitches. So it's 1st and 3rd. Solis, who's due, is going to be lifted. Jerry Sands will pinch hit. So with a run home, 1 out, and men on the corners at 1st and 3rd. Sands will pinch hit. Sands looking for his first hit in a Rays uniform. So he's announced. And now Redmond comes out of the dugout. And that's going to be it for Jennings, who made 4 pitches, and walking Kiermaier. Back in a moment. On Sun Sports is brought to you by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Visit us at Publix.com. And by Just for Men. Get the look you want with new Touch of Gray mustache and beard. Gary Sands announced as the hitter for Solis. With that, a pitching change. The left-hander Jennings departs in favor of right-hander Chris Hatcher.
Well, on for just the 6th time, 5 innings of work, 5 strikeouts, a couple of walks, limited duty. In fact, he has actually been with this Marlins ball club. He's appeared in every year back to 2011, total of 34 games, a career ERA of 6.75.
Well, you had the feeling that Mike Redmond was trying to get as much as he could out of Jacob Turner.
Yeah, well, you know what? Middle relief has been an issue for this Marlins ball club. There's no question about that.
The first pitch in there for a strike. Throws him a slider.
Well, and because they're contending, a half a game back of Atlanta coming into play today, that's why they traded their 39th overall pick for Brian Morris out of Pittsburgh to try to get another arm in to help out. Carter Capps down with an injury. He played a prominent role. He's no longer available, so they made that move, and they may make more.
Kiermaier first, Joyce at third. And a base hit into left. Joyce will score. Kiermaier advances to second. Sands comes up with his first hit, and the Rays make it 6-5.
Well, a breaking ball here by Hatcher. The woes continue. That stayed middle of the plate, and Sands just hammers it right through the hole on the left side.
Well, here's further good news. The Rays break that hitless streak with men in scoring position. It had gone 0 for 34 with runners in scoring position. And Sands comes up with a base hit. His first hit in a Rays uniform. Now here's the top of the order, David DeJesus. Pitch is low. The Rays scored 4 runs last night, were 0 for 9 with men in scoring position. And finally getting a hit here as they score their 5th run and get a hit with runners in scoring position. DeJesus lifts a fly ball into left. Yelich makes the catch, and the runners are going to stay at first and second.
Boy, how about Kiermaier? His break off second base forced Christian Yelich to get rid of that ball and throw it in, not just lob it in. Most guys are just going to take a courtesy couple of hard steps off second base, but Kiermaier, that's not his DNA.
Well, here is Ben Zobrist, who homered his last time. Two outs with 2 men on. Now the pitch, and Zobrist takes a strike at the knees. The 2 runs scoring here in the 6th, completing the book on Turner. He gives up 5 runs in 5 1/3. And that puts Zobrist down on the count 0-2.
Chris Hatcher showing some velocity there. 95 down, coming off of the split to get ahead.
Right-hander out of North Carolina. Ahead of Zobrist. And now a conference on the mound. Hatcher and Realmuto. Hatcher, 29 years old. He made the transition from catcher to the mound. Zobrist fouls this one out of play. Zobrist walked in the first. It is 5th home run of the year in the 5th inning. And that's a little low. It's 1-1. Slider is fouled back. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kiermaier at second. Sands the runner at first. And there is strike 3 call, a fastball. That one hit 96. Zobrist caught looking. The Rays get right back in it, though. They scored 2. We're through 6. 6-5 Miami. In the top of the 6th inning to take a 3-run lead, but Desmond Jennings opened the bottom of the 6th with a base hit, scored on the 3-base hit off the right field wall by Matt Joyce. Before the inning was over, Jerry Sands pinch hitting drives in Joyce, and the Rays have climbed to within a run. We're going to head into the 7th inning in a 6-5 ball game. Miami leading. They about hit the Rays by 1 as well. 10-9. Jake Odorizzi worked 5 innings plus, charged with 4 runs. Jake McGee followed him to the mound, and he was touched for a couple. And as we go to the 7th inning, A new battery for the Rays. Jose Molina takes over for Solis, who was lifted for the pinch hitter. And Brad Boxberger will become pitcher number 3 for the Rays, making his 19th appearance.
Boy, look at those numbers. 20 innings of work, 29 strikeouts, and an opponent's average of 141.
He faces Donovan Solano, who's 0 for 3 today. He hit the big home run in the game last night. A 3-run home run in the 3rd inning. And that first pitch is a strike from Boxberger. Pitch fouled back. 0-2. Fouled back. Both bullpens busy. A.J. Ramos throwing in the bullpen for the Marlins, and Joel Peralta starting to get loose up the right field line for the Rays. There's Ramos, the right-hander. Base hit up the middle. Off speed, and Solano's aboard for the first time.
Boy, these teams just continue to slug back and forth. Boxberger firmly ahead of Solano, and then look at that. That ball down and away, and a nice job by Solano to even get to that, let alone to be able to get enough of it to get it back up the middle for a base hit. That was not a bad pitch at all by Boxberger.
And now here's Stanton. He is 1 for 3. The pitch is too low. Giancarlo Stanton. He's singled back in the first. Since then has struck out and grounded out. This will skip to the backstop, and that puts Solano into scoring position.
That's one of the odder pitches that you'll see. Jose Molina sets up in. And no chance. Fastball low to mid-90s, and Jose Molina just plays the carom.
So just like that, Solano's at second base, and the Marlins have a man in scoring position with nobody out here in the 7th. Three and 0.
Don't lay one in there.
No. That would be scary.
Yeah. For all of us.
Yep. Zobrist trying to keep Solano close to the bag at second as he's shifted over to the left side of the infield. A strike, now 3-1. Pitcher number 3 for the Rays, Boxberger. Stanton fouls that one out of play, and we're full in the count right now, 3-2. Marlins are 6 out of 9 with men in scoring position. A foul ball up the right side, out of play. And one of the 3 outs was the fielder's choice by Echeverria that resulted in a run batted in. So they've been very efficient. As we said, they scored those 3 runs in the 4th inning in the span of just 10 pitches. 3-2 again. Shot to left. Joyce looks up, and that one is gone. Stanton overpowers a fastball and lines a home run into the seats in left. And just like that, it's a 3-run ball game again.
You know, even with the few hits that Stanton has had in this series, the Rays have pitched him well, so I guess it was just a matter of time before a pitch found its way into a bad zone. And Stanton just, I mean, easy swing, easy contact, and it was no doubt meant to be away. It was up, middle in. And again, the Marlins answer the Rays.
They are now 7 of 10 with men in scoring position. Here's Casey McGee. It's now an 8-5 game.
And look who they victimized. You know, I know that Jake McGee, not the first run, obviously not his. But Jake McGee and Brad Boxberger were throwing the ball as well as anybody on this Rays team. And these two guys have been utterly hitless the last little while. Jake McGee going over a month back. Brad Boxberger, his last 5 or 6 outings have been just shut down, locked down, big strikeout numbers.
Well, a base hit by McGee. That brings Madden out of the dugout, and that's going to be it for Boxberger. So he faces 3 and gives up 3 hits, including a home run. Back in a moment. Keep battling back, but boy, it's been tough to hold the Marlins, and tough job for Joe Madden.
Well, he turned to his 2 most trusted relievers, the way that they've been throwing the ball recently, and Jake McGee and Brad Boxberger. That's all you can do, and it just hasn't happened. Now Peralta needs to come in here, slow down this Marlins offense, and the Rays need to make another charge. Never said it was going to be easy.
Garrett Jones pops it to the left side. That's going to fall in the coaching box, but with the shift on, no one could get there. They got Escobar, the lone man on the left side.
Yep, and that's the way that they're going to choose to play Garrett Jones. They've got Evan Longoria over. Well, he's right here, and you see where Escobar is. Long way to go for a short little pop-up, not able to get there.
The line drive out of the reach of the diving Zobrist into right. It'll be first and third as McGee goes to third. Escobar has to trail him over there to cover the bag. How about that?
That's the second time that Garrett Jones has eluded the shift. A ground ball in between, and then a line drive over Loney's head, and look at that. That actually went off the glove This ball got off the end of the glove. It was redirected by Zobrist over towards the line. Wow.
Yeah, these kinds of things will make a team talk to itself. First and third, nobody out.
Watch this. Watch the change of direction of this baseball. Right there, and he just pushes it. Just off the end of the glove, that close.
Marcell Ozuna, the Rays here in the 7th, pull the infield up. It's a strike. Rays have scored 5 runs in this game. They trail by 3.
They've given Marcell Ozuna, as you can see, the way the Rays have him defended the whole right side. I mean, you pull the infield in and you give him a big hole to work with.
Two.
This is the position you wanted to put yourself in. Peralta getting ahead of Ozuna 0-2 with the breaking ball. Now is when you go for that strikeout.
Just be ready to block it.
Yes.
Nobody out.
That's what you worry about. And Dwayne, great to point that out, because Peralta, when he does get ahead of you, I mean, he's got some different pitches that he'll strike you out on, but he loves the split. And the split, you think down, you think potential dirt.
Yep.
And your catcher had better be ready to keep it in front with the runner on third.
The 1-2. And he got him. Ozuna out on strikes. Split got him. That's the first out.
That's been the way the Rays have had success against Ozuna, with the change of speed. Dialed into the hard stuff. Tough for him to stay back on the soft stuff. And that's all it takes right there.
Well, that's a great example, captured by the Phantom cam there, of a hitter being out in front. You won't see one any better than that. Great job of the use of the Phantom cam right there. Justin Bour. First pitch strike on a curveball. Right-hander Lukey up in the bullpen for the Rays. Blocked by Molina. 1-1.
Here's a split well short, and boy, dangerous too. Dangerous with the backhand, because that's where you can get the crazy ricochets. Fortunate.
You're right about that. One ball, one strike. Out in front of that pitch. It's a ball, 2-strike count. Muto is on deck. Foul in front of that one again. What a Rizzi, McGee, Boxberger, and now Peralta. Fastball misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He at third, Jones at first. Chop, that's going to be over the head of Loney and into right. Another run will score. McGee crosses the plate. Jones goes to third, and Bohr chopped it through the right side of the infield.
We've seen more of those types of hits in the last 2 ball games than we've seen in a long time. Justin Bohr with 2 chop hits, one an infield hit. This one actually gets into the outfield, right over the head of James Loney.
See that one big chop. So his first big league run batted in. It's now 9-5. Realmuto takes a strike at the knees. That's 2 hits given up by Peralta. 1 out in the inning. So 4 runs charged to Rizzi, 2 to McGee, and now 3 to Boxberger. And 2 men on here. Men at first and third. They belong to Peralta. One ball, 1 strike. Marlins have done their scoring in 3s to this point. 3 in the 4th, 3 in the 6th, 3 more in the 7th. Upstairs. 2 balls and a strike. Echeverria is on deck.
You want to hear something ridiculous?
Try me.
I'm going to, and this is utterly ridiculous.
2-1 is popped up. It's Longoria taking care of business. 2 gone.
So Jake McGee,
yes sir,
and Brad Boxberger combined have given up 5 runs today between the 2 of them.
Yep.
Coming into play today, those 2 on the season, combined innings pitched 45 2/3. They've given up 6.
Wow.
Earned runs. 3 each.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I knew I could get you on that one. That is unbelievable.
Yes, it
3
is.
each on the season. And 2 today for McGee, 3 for Boxberger.
When you bring McGee in, you know, we were talking about the Marlins trying to get as many innings as they could out of Turner, even to push him more than 5. He got into a little trouble in the 6th. They paid the price for it. So here's the Rays now. They lost 9 in a row, and here's Madden trying to go to as close to a sure thing as he has in the bullpen.
On the season, those guys have combined for an ERA just over 1.
Yeah.
For 9 innings.
And that's not working out. I mean, you talk about a frustrating feeling. Echeverria takes a pitch high. The count is 1-1. a stretch where whatever you try doesn't work out.
And what other move would you make? I mean, you can't do anything but make that move.
Yep.
Like you said, it's as close to a sure thing as there is right now. And even that is ending poorly.
Now 2-1 to count on Echeverria. Moore the runner at first and Jones at third. Two balls, one strike. Upstairs. Peralta's way behind Echeverria. Miss. And as we go to 3-2 here with 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning, the thought occurs to me how ironic it is that Joel Peralta, perhaps the slowest working pitcher in Major League Baseball, includes in his repertoire of pitches something called a quick pitch.
We have entirely too much time on our hands. That's a great point.
We haven't seen it yet. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss. He got it. Fastball strikes him out. It's 7th inning stretch time. Rays coming in to hit in the bottom of the 7th. 9-5 Miami.
It'll come in this box, and guys, this is the real deal. We got the tongs right here, right? It's wood on this side. This is good stuff. A little spatula, and you've got your fork. So you've got everything you need for a great barbecue. So that's going to be this Sunday, 14 and over, courtesy of KM Franks, First 10,000 fans 14 and older. The James Loney grill set on the handle of the spatula and the fork. It says Rays 21. There you go.
Yeah, and with that, you're fully equipped. Go to the bottom of the 7th. Evan Longoria leads it off, and the pitch is a ball, 1-0.
I think the real question is, are those going to be handed out on the way in? Because things could get interesting.
That's a very interesting question. Up the right side, that ball's going to drop. They had him pulled way over toward right center. And Longoria's going to wind up at second with a double on that. Second hit for Evan today.
That ball elevated out over the plate, and Evan just drops it into the right spot. Keeps it fair. Fan touches it. That's going to stop play. Evan at second base as the Rays look to try to mount something down 4.
James Loney about to step in. You see action in the Rays bullpen. Grant Balfour continues to be a very difficult stretch for the Rays. Pitch is down to Loney. The Marlins, who came into this 2-game set, the back 2 of the Citrus Series here at the Trop, second only to the Rockies in runs scored. And the Rays have been victimized to the tune of 9 runs and 15 hits by the Marlins in this game. Ramos up again in the bullpen for Miami. Chris Hatcher on the mound. Turner worked 5 1/3. Jennings came in, walked a man, and then Hatcher got credit for the final 2 outs in the 6th. Ground ball right side, glove there by Jones. Hatcher's going to cover first, and over to third advances Longoria.
Garrett Jones going down, making sure that he's able to glove that ground ball. Not at all worried about what's going on out in front of him. Just secure the baseball and then make a solid flip to your pitcher to record the out.
Desmond Jennings. Pitch is a strike.
Miami Marlins more than willing to sacrifice this run here to take an out.
Desmond opened the 6th with a base hit, scored a run, and fouls this one. Puts him behind Hatcher. 2 strikes. Is in at second with the double. The Rays get their 6th run of the game. It's 9-6 now.
Now Desmond Jennings just trying to stay alive in this at-bat. A pitch away from him. Boy, that's awfully close right there. That's why Mike Redmond making the slow walk out there to talk to Bill Miller. Call on the field, obviously fair. A double for Desmond, a run for the Rays.
While they talk it over, a reminder to get 50% off at papajohns.com the day after the Rays score 6. Use promo code RAYS6. They have 6 runs in this game, and Redmond talks it over with Bill Miller behind the bag at first. Let's see what they decide to do here, if they get an idea. Redmond taking a lot of time out there and starting to head back now. Another look. And Miller has just ejected Mike Redmond. Well, that was taking a long time in the setup. Redmond has been ejected. He was out there a long time waiting for a signal, and then apparently started to leave. Might have gotten the signal, came back, and Miller says, "You're too late, and I'll eject you."
And he hung around like a champ, got his money's worth. He was chewing on Bill Miller's left ear. He said, you read Bill Miller's lips, he said, "I'm telling you I'm right." And then he said, "You better walk away." Mike Redmond turned around, said something back, and then there you go.
So an ejection. What else are we going to see here? Pitching change, apparently. So Jennings has a double, a run batted in. And we're going to see a new pitcher for the Miami Marlins. We'll be back in a moment. Here. Here's Matt Joyce to face Ramos. Cut the miss for a strike. One. Cut there, but it's fouled back on the fastball.
primarily Ramos against the left-handed hitter. Fastball and changeup. 2 strikes. He'll use the slider a little bit more.
Tell lefties to just over 160 this year.
And it's because of that changeup. That changeup's a good pitch.
Look at it. 2-2. Joyce out on strikes, and there's that changeup.
And that's why he's got tremendous arm action with it. Really sells out on that pitch, and he has enough velocity that you've got to be geared up for it. Boy, Phantom Cam gives you a perspective of when you, like you said, Dwayne, getting the guy out in front, and it's not that much.
I know.
It's not that much, but it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, the shot we had in the top of the inning with the Peralta out there in his change. You know, he's got that split. Sometimes he gets depth on it, sometimes he doesn't. But even when he doesn't, we had that great shot provided by Phantom Cam as to why that pitch is effective. Break to that one, and the count is 1-1. Jennings on second. Close to Escobar. Drops the bat and gets out of there.
He ran that right in there, let her high. Boy, just missing those hands. You know, that's where, oh, look where he's at in the box, too. Right there, close.
Breaking ball, and it's a liner caught by Echeverria. And that's going to retire the side. Pitch hung up there. Escobar lines it, and Echeverria makes the grab at short to end the 7th. The Rays settle for 1 run, a couple of hits, and leave a man. 9-6 Miami through 7. The Marlins lead. We go to the 8th inning. As promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet your photo to hashtag #SunSportsFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Grant Balfour makes an appearance, the fifth Rays pitcher of this game, on to face the top of the order in this Marlins lineup here in the 8th.
Now, with this Rays' recent slide, it's been tough to find Balfour work. Been really tough to find him an opportunity to come in and save a ball game. Obviously, that's not the case here, but you need to get him work. You need a scoreless inning here.
So here's Yelich, who is 0 for 4. Leadoff hitter in the Marlins lineup. Goes after the first one for Balfour and lofts a popper into shallow left. It's going to be handled by Joyce. So 1 pitch, 1 out in the 8th inning.
Second baseman, Donovan Solano.
The second baseman, Donovan Solano. He opened the 7th with a base hit. Marlins have done their scoring in threes in this game. 7th, the most recent inning in which they put up 3. Pop foul. Out of play it goes. 1-1. Balfour last worked Sunday when the Red Sox shut out the Rays 4-0. Worked the 8th inning of that game. Picked up a couple of strikeouts. Gave up a hit. No runs. Solano fouls this one out of play. It's foul right back out of play again, almost the same spot.
Grant Balfour has Donovan Solano in swing mode right now. Get a guy up there just used to swinging pitch after pitch after pitch. You can kind of walk him places he may not go otherwise.
Two balls, 2 strikes the count. That's Stanton on deck. And just missed wide. 3-2.
And that was a good pitch. A good attempt right there by Grant Balfour to pick up the strikeout just off the plate. Surprised Solano was able to lay off that pitch.
Ground ball headed to short. Escobar makes that play on Solano. So 2 up and 2 down. It's Mike Dunn, the hard-throwing left-hander, loosening in the bullpen for Miami. So 2 outs, base is empty. Here's Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton homered in the 7th inning. Picks a pitch for a strike, his 17th home run of the year. He now has 53 runs batted in.
Go get it, Frank. That's the way to do it. Go get it.
5 of his home runs this year, 450 or better. 0-2 the count. 4 ahead of him, 0-2. Ball, 2 strikes. A little over 400 at bats last year for Stanton. He led this team with 24 home runs, and 7 of those were .430 or better. Takes a pitch too low. We go to 2-2. 4 runs charged to Odorizzi in 5 innings plus. He's still the pitcher of record here for the Rays. McGee gave up a couple runs in an inning. Boxberger faced 3 men, gave up 3 runs. Shot toward the middle, and Zobrist behind the bag makes the play to retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, 9-6 Miami. Play 1-1. A nice catch there, had it all the way. Jeff Mathis takes over behind the plate. Ground ball hits the mound and skips through into center field. Base hit for Kiermaier. So he's on for the 4th time, 3 for 3 with a walk.
Oh, what a day for Kiermaier. Ball away from him, he just reaches out. Solid contact, catches the mound, the leadoff base runner. He does it again.
So Kiermaier leading off the inning is aboard. Jose Molina, entered the game after Lease was lifted for the pinch hitter Sands, and Jerry Sands singled a run home. Now Molina bats for the first time in this game. Mookie getting up again in the bullpen. strike on the outside part of the plate.
Boy, that's a pretty good breaking ball there by Ramos. Sweeps it 78 miles an hour, very slurvy. Covers a lot of ground. Gonna go right back to it, looks like.
And Molina did not swing. Kiermaier at first base. We're in the 8th. Molina is out on strikes. Here's the first out in the 8th.
You figured this was going to be the pitch of choice by Ramos after getting ahead of Molina. Able to retire him and now faces DeJesus. This is where you need David to really lock in and have one of his patented good at-bats. He can battle you. He can foul some tough pitches off. Can be an extremely tough out. And that's what you're thinking with just 5 left. Down 3.
Rays need a couple base runners to have a shot to get even as we play in the 8th. Move to first. Kiermaier's back in. Marlins have out hit the Rays 15-12 now. Rays trail 9-6. Pitch is a strike to David DeJesus. David opened the first inning with a single and scored on a fly ball by James Loney. That gave the Rays a 1-0 lead. Well, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, this game has definitely thrown the anchor out.
That's a strike at the knees. 0-2.
Well, this is where you start to have to think about that changeup of Ramos. Has the fastball, has that sweeping slider. He will throw that occasionally to the lefties with 2 strikes, but more often than not, he goes with that changeup. We go with another fastball here. You see Mathis putting down that single digit.
And it misses wide.
But you know what? That's what you want to do if you're Ramos. The 0-2 fastball, you don't want it out over the plate. You don't. You want to throw it on that edge just off. See if DeJesus will chase. Because you're up 0-2, you can afford to do that. Now you can come right back with that changeup, which he loves to do against lefties in these situations.
It's looped into left center field, falling for a base hit. Kiermaier makes the turn and hangs at second, so the Rays do get 2 base runners with Zobrist coming to the plate. So singles by Kiermaier and DeJesus in the inning, sandwiched around the strikeout by Molina.
No, he looked like it was with a breaking ball, not the changeup, and David DeJesus is able to just fight that off and drop it out there into left center field. This gives the Rays a chance, 1 swing, tie it up.
Zobrist with a couple of home runs in this 2-game set at the Trop. Pitch inside. His 5th home run of the year in the 5th inning of this game.
And that was off of a changeup by Turner.
He was out in front of that changeup.
Now he'll log that away, too, in case Ramos decides to come back with it later in this at-bat. Not that far off right there. And he's, that's a good pitch, but leave it there again, and we'll see.
And he picks up a strike call. Change again, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, he gives you a lot of action in that delivery towards home plate. Kind of quick, and then tries to slow it down with that changeup. Now, Zobrist has seen 2 in a row. Will he come with 3?
Zobrist tried to check on the changeup, and he's out on strikes. Ramos just stayed with that pitch.
Yeah, and that speaks to the quality of it. Probably regretting he didn't throw it to DeJesus. But you see right there, and Zobrist, he knew it, frustrated.
So it'll be 2 men on with 2 men out, and Evan Longoria stepping to the plate. Evan with a single and a double in his last 2 at-bats.
We have seen that aggressive swing from Evan Longoria in the last couple of games.
And he takes a fastball for a strike.
And you'd like to see one more right here. Do the math.
The Rays battling to get a couple men on to have a shot as we play in the 8th. And Evan quickly behind in the count. Little slider there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Ramos has really tightened up his pitches here after the hit to DeJesus. Boy, I mean, just right to the edge. That's a perfect placement on that slider down and away.
Ball, 2 strikes. Myers at second, and DeJesus is at first. Little tapper back to the hill, and the toss to first in time. They got Longoria with the slider, and the Rays leave 2 men aboard in the 8th. We go to the 9th, 9-6 Miami.
5-6 lead. And join us tomorrow at 6:30 as Seattle comes to town for that series. For the Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Mariners now mean Robinson Cano will be here, and Arestas will break down the latest on him. And be sure to stick with us tonight after the final out for Rays Live, the postgame show presented by Checkers. I'll get Joe Madden's thoughts on this one. Todd and Arestas always holding it down well out there in left field. Dwayne and BA, you guys will offer up your thoughts. And talking about tomorrow, this Mariners bullpen, pretty stellar lately.
Yeah, the Mariners have obviously invested a lot of money out there trying to become relevant in the West, and they were tough when the Rays were out there.
Yeah, well, they absolutely can be, led by their pitching staff, and then with Cano trying to get a little bit more offense. Will not be a cakewalk, that's for sure.
Balfour worked the 8th, Lukey on for the 9th. First pitch to McGee, lifted foul and out of play for a strike. A 3-for-4 day for Casey McGee.
Come on, Josh. Go get him now. Come on.
Lukey charged with holding the Marlins here in the 9th inning and give the Rays a shot in the bottom of the 9th. One and one. Steve Cishek in the bullpen. Cishek finished off last night's game. One and two the count.
Come on, Josh. Take time. Come on. Go get him.
And the pitch foul back. 1 and 2. Garrett Jones on deck. Marcell Ozuna due to hit third. The count, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Good one, George. Good one.
The Marlins, their offense pretty well spread out today. Stanton with a couple of runs batted in. McGee has scored 3. Ozuna driving in 2. Moore an RBI. Echeverria with a run batted in as well. Realmuto started behind the plate, drove in 3. The right side, and that ball will slice up against the low sidewall. A 2-2 count. Again up the right side, fair. McGee's on base again, and how about the throw by Kiermaier to hold him to a single? Well, Kiermaier got over there in a hurry and in a position to throw in a hurry.
Give me another right-handed hitter that hits the ball up the line like that. I mean, from out of nowhere, he comes sliding in there all in one motion.
And that's routine for Kiermaier.
Well, you know what?
Gotta love that.
Yeah. Plays with such a high motor. Down, late, doesn't matter. He's had a great day at the plate. We know he can defend. And tremendous hustle all the time.
Garrett Jones. Strike one.
You know what I like about Kiermaier is whether it's out of the batter's box or whether it is out in the outfield. When he starts to run, he tries to get to top speed as quickly as possible. I mean, he doesn't glide there and slowly build. His goal is to get to whatever it is, whatever his top end is, get there as fast as I can, and then just go.
0-2 to Jones.
And we see it out of the box. We've seen him, take those doubles, the inside the park home run off the monster at Fenway. The way that he breaks on balls hit to his left or his right playing in the outfield.
Foul ball. So it's still a 2-strike count here on Garrett Jones. This game started with 11 of the first 12 Marlin hitters being retired. 11 of the first 12. There's been a complete reversal of that trend. It stays inside. Now 1-2. Rays overload that right side with a shift on for Garrett Jones.
Zobrist, Longoria. Keep Escobar on the left side by himself. Jones has been able to thwart that shift twice.
And he lifts the fly ball the other way. That's Joyce to make the catch. So he skies to left, and that's out number one.
Center fielder, Marcell Ozuna.
One on, one out for Marcell Ozuna. He has 2 hits, 2 runs scored, and 2 runs batted in. Pitch is low. Pitch is upstairs. 2-0.
This is what happens when the pace of the game takes on what it's done today. Guys out there mentally trying to stay interested, stay into the game, stay loose.
It's a strike, and it's 2-1.
A lot of it, too, has been these offenses. It started off slow, and then all of a sudden, few runs, Rays would answer, Marlins back and forth they would go.
Yeah, well, combined in the first 3 innings, we had 1 run and 3 hits. Since then, 14 runs have scored on 26 hits.
There you go.
Pitch is a strike to Ozuna. 2-2. You're talking about defenders trying to stay loose and interested, and that's one of the things that you have to wonder about with this slow down approach between pitches of a lot of bullpen. Count still 2-2 with that chopper foul. McGee's at first. Jones has been retired. into the dirt. Far enough to give McGee any thoughts of trying to advance. One on with one out. 3 balls, 2 strikes the count. Cut and a foul ball. Caught part of Molina. Nine, 6. Miami. This game is in the top half of the 9th. Driven deep into right center field. Jennings will run out of room, and that one winds up back up into the stands, out of here. Ozuna with a 2-run blast, and the Rays are down 11-6.
Well, where they've had their success against Ozuna in these 4 games is with a lot of back and forth change of speeds, getting him out of rhythm, out in front. And he's able to sit back here on this pitch, let it get into the zone. He's strong, double digit, 10 home runs, now 11. And he drives that one deep to right center.
You know, he now has 39 runs batted in.
Think about it. Think about the middle of that order when you start to look at Stanton and then McGee, all the damage that he's done with just 1 home run. Jones has chipped in. Ozuna, 11 home runs, closing in on 40 runs batted in. That's where the difference lies, because this team last year just was flat out awful offensively. And they have turned it around in a big way. That's why they find themselves just a half a game back in the National League East.
Yep.
Complete turnaround. And where they were dead last in Major League Baseball in so many categories, now they're in the top 2, top 3 in the National League of many of the same.
Moore out on strikes. Missed the fastball in the mid-90s. So that's the second out of the inning here in the 9th. And the Blue Jays beat the Tigers 7-3. That was Happ the winner and Verlander the loser. Jansen picked up his 10th save. Laurie, Francisco, and Cabrera all hit home runs. They each have 10 home runs, though. And the Blue Jays continue to roll. They're now 37-24. There's Mathis fouling a pitch out of play.
And I believe that was a sweep of the Tigers. I mean, they are taking no prisoners right now.
Mike Dunn up in the bullpen. We mentioned earlier the Yankees beat Oakland 2-1. Tanaka goes to 9-1. Fly ball to right. Kiermaier makes the catch on that one. Marlins out, but they put 2 more on the board in the 9th and lead 11-6.
6 as they look for a sweep of the Citrus Series. The Miami Marlins also own the number 2 overall pick in the 2014 first-year player draft, which is underway. About 6 picks in right now. Tyler Kolek, a right-handed pitcher from Shepherd High School, about 45 minutes outside of Houston. This guy can bring it. Big right-hander, can throw about close to 100 at times on the radar gun. You can see him there in the Under Armour All-American game. Tyler Kolek is selected by the Miami Marlins number 2 overall in today's draft. By the way, the Rays select number 20 overall. We'll probably not have that pick for you by the time we're off the air on Rays Live, presented by Checkers after the game, but you can watch it later on tonight on MLB Network, and you will see the Rays represented by former reliever Dan Wheeler. He is the draft representative today for Tampa Bay. Rays also have picks 60 and 72. Guys, back to you.
All right, and it's going to be on TV at our house. So we're going to watch that. Hey, by the way, Bud Selig, as we take a look at Mike Dunn, Bud Selig opened the draft and had the most appropriate greeting for everyone involved in that draft and those who may be drafted. Here's Loney against Dunn, lifting a foul ball out of play. Bud Selig, the commissioner, started the player draft and said, I hope all of you who are about to be drafted enjoy the game as much as Don Zimmer did. And what a great thought. If they do that, how successful their lives will be. And we'll have more coverage and commentary about that on our post game. So stay tuned for that. 2 strikes the count on James Loney. What a wonderful sentiment. A 2-strike count here to Loney against the lefty. Piece of it foul. Desmond Jennings will be next, and then Matt Joyce is due. Just a little low right there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, there were those who said of this Marlins team over the winter and early that it would be easy to discount this team, but there were some scouts who liked this team a lot. And one of the reasons they liked their young talent, they actually had said, some of those scouts, that they thought the Marlins would be involved in the race in the National League East because of that young talent, and because the feeling was that this young talent was better than what the Mets and the Phillies had available right now. And the Marlins started this day just a half game back of Atlanta and ahead of all those other teams.
The Rays have had an up-close and personal look the last 4 days. They've won some tight ones. They've gotten pitching performances like Henderson Alvarez in his complete game 1-0 shutout. They've seen good work by their bullpen. They've pitched out of some jams. They've swung the bats well. They've answered everything that the Rays have tried up to this point.
Loney fouls it. Holding the count at 1-2.
Well, Loney's going to battle you to the end, and this is pretty status quo for him.
Starting pitchers, still the pitchers of record. It's foul, and George Hendrick makes the play down there. A distributor's souvenir to that young lady who came prepared.
The glove is as big as she is. She knows what to do with the baseball.
That's right.
Work that glove in, break it in.
It's been a successful day now.
Yeah.
Loney fouls it again. So it's going to be at least a 9-pitch at bat here. 9 pitches in to this point. Loney lifts it into left. Yelich toward the line for it, makes the catch. That's the first out.
Center fielder, number 8, Desmond Jennings.
Yeah, Desmond Jennings. There's a been out hit 17-13 and trail 11-6. One strike on Jennings. One and one to count. Dunn worked 1 inning last night, picked up 2 strikeouts. And Loney and Jennings on strikes last night. Sean Rodriguez is on deck. Matt Joyce due up next. Dunn facing the same hitters he faced in the game last night. That's a chopper foul. Perseverance pays off. Came prepared, staying till the end, rewarded with a souvenir baseball right there. There's Solano making the pickup. So 2 outs.
Your attention, please. Pitch hitting for Joyce. Number 1, Sean Rodriguez.
So Sean Rodriguez will pinch hit. Pitch outside to Sean. The Rays, who came into this game 0 for their last 31 with men in scoring position, went 2 for 12 today with men in scoring position at this point. Miami 8 of 14 with runners in scoring position in this game. 8 out of 14.
And that right there's the difference. Right there is the difference. In Miami, they've not been that good. But that's something that they've done well this year. Runners in scoring position. And that's why they've been able to put up the numbers that they have.
A strike to Rodriguez. And how about this? Rays pitching. Odorizzi, McGee, Boxberger, Peralta, Balfour, and Lukey have been the pitchers today, making a total of 189 pitches with 11 strikeouts and no walks in this game.
That's not easy to do.
No.
No walks. Approaching 200 pitches in a 9-inning game.
There are the strangest things that have occurred during this Rays tailspin. They're on the verge of dropping their 10th in a row. And things like this pop up repeatedly. Full count now to Sean Rodriguez.
You know what? And it wasn't that long ago that they sent the Boston Red Sox to their 10th straight loss while winning 4 in a row and feeling pretty good about heading out on the road. I mean, how quickly things can turn within a game, within a week and a half, and in some bizarre fashion, like you said.
3-2. Rodriguez lifts a high pop foul that will carry out a play. And through all of what we have seen today, 17 runs, 30 hits, the starting pitchers remain the pitchers of record in this game. Turner would be the winner and Odorizzi the losing pitcher. Rodriguez fouls another one out of play. About the middle of their order, their cleanup man, 4th and 5th, McGee and Jones. They've combined for 7 hits, 6 runs. The team scored 11 runs. They have no runs batted in between the two of them.
Could go on, and we will.
We will. At least one more hitter. Ball 4. Now Escobar. So Escobar, who's 0 for 4, hitting .252. So Dunn working the 9th inning. And there's a chop to third. McGee to Jones, and this game is over. The Rays have just dropped their 10th in a row, dropping this one to the Miami Marlins. 11-6 the final. And we'll be back with the totals in a moment.